Okay, we are live. Welcome to Friday Teaming with Armakuni. This is episode number 7. I am your host this week. My name is Ben, and today we are joined by Billy and John. Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
So this week's theme, like last week, is Test Commit Revert. Test Commit Revert is a really hardcore development technique where you run the tests, but if the tests fail, all of your code changes are wiped and you have to start over. So I'll just do a little quick demo of what TCR actually looks like. It's a bit convoluted command. So TCR stands for Test Commit Revert. So what we do is first we run the test, and in this case we're using Python, so it's going to be PyTest. Then we're going to end that with git commit, add everything, and just use a message like whip. And if those two commands succeed, then great, all the changes get committed. If it fails for whatever reason, like for example the test's failing, then it will run the OR and Git will reset all of your changes back to what the latest commit was. So I've created an alias here in the terminal window, so we will just run TCR and that will run all of our tests and will also commit if needed. Okay. So today we are doing the Mars Rover Kata. So the Mars Rover Kata is you are part of a team that explores Mars by sending remotely controlled vehicles to the surface of the planet. So we have to develop an API that translates the commands which are sent from Earth to instructions that are understood by the rover. So the requirements of this, you are given the initial starting point, coordinates XY of a rover and a direction like northeast, southwest, that it is facing. The rover is going to receive a character array of commands. We have to implement commands that move the rover forwards and backwards, turn the rover left and right. We have to implement wrapping at the edges, and obstacle detection before each move to a new square. If a sequence of moves encounters an obstacle, then the rover has to move to the last possible point and then abort the sequence and report that there is an obstacle.
Ooh. So, do we have any examples of the what we're expecting? It says we received an character array of commands. Do we know what that might look like? Is it just going to be like RL, FB
So let's
over and over again?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of for us to decide, but I would expect it to look something just like FB, RL, LLL, that kind of thing. So you can just do the interface can just be like pass in a string, and then for each character in the string, do the thing. Make sense?
Cool. Makes sense to me.
So let me get my mob timer up. So John, you are up first as a driver, and Billy, you are navigating.
Okay, so I'm in the test rover.
Shall we let's write the outside function and have it take just nothing. So we can just write an empty function and then check, and our test is that it can call the empty function. So really tiny step to getting us closer to, I don't know what to call it, like Rove or something.
Let's call it what you just said, and remove it if when we move up the test hierarchy.
Yeah. I went to the university that, the Beagle 2 lander that like unfolded but never Never actually sent any things back. One of the people that at my uni did the arm for it, so he was like taking the piss out of saying that he'd personally broken the Mars lander.
Don't tell me it was written in Python.
No. Cool. Should we?
So I've just created a split between the two files. So I've got the test on the left and the actual implementation code on the right.
So I've written the name of a test function, and it still returns a search true. Do you think at this stage we should be doing TCR already?
So,
because we've made a change.
I mean, why don't you try it? See if just to double check that the TCR command's actually working.
Okay.
There you go. All good.
Right.
Cool. I still think we should just write a function with no parameters in it, and
okay. So assert that.
You could just leave it assert true, like
what, that rove is true?
No, you could do it as none. I guess I'm not expecting anything to come back from it.
What it is
non with a capital N.
Yeah.
And then if you write and import the rove function.
And I get it to generate.
Question.
No.
Unfortunately not. You'll have to do this manually.
I don't really write code anymore. It's all just
John's getting confused about the keywords in Python. It's def.
Yeah, totally. I just came from TypeScript.
Def.
Def.
It's definitely rove. Colon.
And then
colon return null. None. There we go.
So
and then you need to import it before we try and do the TCR thing.
Good idea.
That caught us out last time.
That's the only reason I remembered to do it.
We wrote all this code, and then it was like TCR, and it's like rove is not defined.
Will it be from rover import from or something?
From rover import rove.
Yeah.
What I might suggest to do here is import asterisk, and then you don't have to like faff around with that in the future.
Wait, what's the problem with this?
It's fine. It's just when you start creating new functions, I guess. Like then you're gonna have to start adding in commas and importing more things. So I would just do import star rather than rove, and then that's solved for the whole session. Yeah. So instead of importing rove at the end of that, just put an asterisk instead, and that means you're importing everything from that file. Handy Python tip.
Right.
I am confident this is going to work. I think we should go for it. Just TCR it. Run the thingy command.
What are all these squiggly lines, though? Missing function declaration. Is there any problem here?
No, it's just saying there's no docstring.
Yeah. I've got too many helpers, and I don't know how to disable them.
It's slightly distracting. All right. So what, shall we do it? Run TCR?
Go for it.
If it fails, you have to take a shot. You're lucky.
Yes.
Nice.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea for a TCR stream.
Yes.
You're just going to get worse at it every time.
Friday night one.
I mean, no, what's going to happen is you're going to hit the bomber peak, right? So after like the first shot or two, you're going to be like, right, I'm in the zone. And then after that, it's just going to.
Okay, so let's have a look at this. So what? You're part of the Mars Rover team. I'm just trying to look for what it's expecting to output. That translates the command to instructions that are understood by the rover.
So we know it takes a string.
Yeah, we can do that. So we could chuck in a string in the test and then add it to the method signature. I guess an empty string would be valid, right? Like it'd just be
valid enough for purpose of TCR, I suppose. So
so it's in Python. You don't. If we're not going to do types, then we don't need to.
Yeah. We're not doing types.
Can do. We call
It's
on.
like that, isn't it? Then?
Yeah, and then the return type would be then arrow non on the end of that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Let's see if we broke anything.
Mans is not accessed. Oh, because we're not using it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
So, but
these trust your instincts, John.
Yeah.
Do you dare run TCR?
Go for it. Like we're pretty low risk, right?
What's the worst that could happen? All of your code could... Oh no!
Oh wait, what? Oh, it's because it didn't save it.
Yeah.
Well, what did it get saved in the middle?
Yeah, VS Code's bad at saving things.
Yeah.
It didn't revert though, did it?
It did.
It did, but because basically what happened is because it was still open in the VS Code, like the VS Code changes hadn't been serialized.
I get it. Yeah.
So you were saved by VS Code in this case. You were both you were hindered and saved by it at the same time.
What I expect from an IDE. It's certainly what I get from the ones I normally use.
Yeah. VS Code is trolling me, basically.
Let's do it. TCR it. Let's see what happens. Right. Cool.
Okay.
Nailed it.
So what are we going to return from our function? I think we're kind of at a point where we need to decide this. Like, I would lean towards a new coordinate, I think.
We need to return anything?
I mean, it doesn't explicitly say. However, I assume we need to output like an end.
Some change, I suppose.
Yeah. So when I've done this before, I've had it outprint a map, but like we could just do coordinates because as you're given an initial starting point of X and Y, which I just realized we've not actually put into our method signature.
Yeah.
And the direction it's facing. The rover receives an array of commands.
Yeah, that sounds like a decent idea. We just return, we calculate next position, right?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Okay. So, what are we returning?
So I think we're actually missing a couple of parameters before we do the return thing. So I think we need to add in a tuple of X and Y and a initial direction.
So like that.
Yeah, and then I think we still need the instructions in there as well.
Time's up. Swap. Billy, you are now
Oh.
driving.
Okay.
I was about to spell coordinate. I don't know if you want to continue that or.
Yeah. So,
People of int.
yes.
Python's coming back to me now.
Oh, do I need to import
You need
type?
to import the typing system. Now, given that you're doing
well,
TCR, so given that you guys are doing TCR over here, do you want to continue going down the route of typing, just knowing how Python deals with typing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'm just going to import this typing.
From typing. Yeah.
Super. Okay. So, is this what you want, John, at the moment?
But the coordinate and commands. That's what we have in the test.
So I think we need an initial direction in there as well.
Oh, okay. So you're driving.
So
if I
mean, one thing I might suggest here is you're gonna need to initialize the rover with some kind of position and initial direction, right? And there's gonna need to be some kind of state involved here as well, right? So now,
starting point of a rover and direction it is facing. Oh yeah, I think. Well, I understood this command to be the command you give it directions to, not the initialization command.
So what are we doing? Are we going to return a rover and then call methods on the rover, or are we going to are we going to somehow build a rover that we then interact with, or are we going to do it like? So I sort of approached this assuming we were going to do this in a more functional style, and just return the end coordinates. Is that true?
I don't know. Well, whether we do it in a functional style or not, I think we need to still have one function that initializes it and then returns something, whether that's a function, another function, or an object is.
So I think Billy's approach probably makes quite a lot of sense as well, right? So like you can have the one function which, given an input position and a sequence of commands, and then potentially a grid of obstacles, the one function does everything. So it's stateless.
I like the sound of stateless.
Okay, cool.
I can do
that. So I've got something wrong here. Too many positional arguments. Am I missing a save? I'm missing a save. Okay, great. And I'm missing a save there.
Yeah, don't forget the save. I think when
Oh, wait a minute. So we don't want to pass in commands at this point. This is going to return a function, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, every time we want to calculate a new coordinate, are we going to have to?
I certainly wasn't imagining it. I wasn't imagining it having it being a higher order function. I was imagining it being a just procedural.
Yeah.
At least to start off with.
Fine. I misunderstood you. Okay.
I mean, so
that looks all right now.
So I think, let me just take the keyboard here for a second. So you might do something like, pause equals, right, like initial direction plus coordinate or something like that, right? And then for in directions, you do pause plus equals or pause equals some update, right? And then at the end, you do return pause, right? So like that could be what the functional logic looks like.
Yeah, okay, let's keep it simple.
Something like that. That's an idea.
Anyway, this is probably enough of a change to
PCR it. Boom!
Uh-oh.
You're done. Billy, it's your fault.
Amazing.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So
What happened here?
one thing, I think this is probably where Python bit you a little bit, because the assertion was, oh no.
Oh, was it asserting instance rather than
So you need an
equality?
equals here. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, can you just do undo with a?
It'll feel, yeah, probably.
Was that cheating?
Probably
Yeah,
cheating.
probably
Also,
can.
don't forget to save. I think in a live share session, it doesn't automatically save when you move away from Windows. It will when I do it, but
yeah.
Unless I find a way of following Billy, actually.
Yeah, you just need to go to live share and click on his name. Sorry.
How do I do that?
You
I'll
go
follow
to the
participants
share icon at the bottom right.
Yeah.
Bottom left. Sorry.
Right, I think that's back to where we are. Does that all look okay? I mean, I'm not saved it yet.
I
think now that I'm following you, it might.
Ooh,
So take my word
exciting.
for it.
Looks okay to me. Yeah.
So apparently it's completely guaranteed that it's going to save it every single time, according to Ben Nagy.
Did I not just say that? I'll take my word for it.
Oh my God. So I'm so much more grateful when it passes now.
Right?
Okay. How can what's next?
So what's next is
anyone remember their transformation priority premises?
Starting point and the direction.
So maybe
we get these commands as
so maybe
have one command.
Maybe do the what happens if you do like F as a command. Like what would the test look like? So if you did like rove 1 with the other
is it uppy downy lefty righty, or is it lefty righty uppy downy for X and Y? Ben, you do science, you know this.
Decide.
What are you, John? Which way's uppy downy and which way's lefty righty?
Well, okay, so like
in terms of north left.
I mean, the rover has a position that it's facing, right? So it can either turn to face a cardinal direction, or it can move forwards and backwards, right? So it's not like it will move up, down, left, and right. Like translation, no, it can move forwards and backwards, and it can turn 90 degrees and turn 90 degrees right. So
it doesn't.
So you can go forward in any cardinal direction, but it will depend on what direction the rover is facing, depending on how many left and right turns it has done.
I've thought of a smaller change if this works, but if this sounds like a good idea, which is that we can just return the coordinate, right? Like if we don't put anything in, like that would be an improvement to this, would be to add another test which says like this initial position should be what we pass in. Like,
sorry, that what?
so if we did this,
Yeah.
So if I just write, like, if I do, I'm going to give it a bad name, and then like
We need to rename the test functions as well. So
like that should pass, but it doesn't. It won't anyway. It'll TCR, right? It'll fail.
So that's a good next text. Oh, timer's up. Sorry.
Wait, why would you expect going north to end up in 2-2?
So it's the initial position.
Oh, sorry. There's no command to go anywhere. Right.
Yeah. So what you want to do is just return the initial position.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's a fair.
Anyway, time to rotate. So, Billy, you're driving. John, you're navigating. Time starts now.
Other way around.
I thought I was navigating.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
How is it? Sorry.
So I'm driving now.
Yep.
Right, Billy, what do you want me to do?
So we can do constant to scalar. So we can do from 1-1. We can just change that to coordinate and return the coordinate.
Can't we just return coordinate?
Yep, that's exactly. Yep, hang on. Cool. And then save both files. And then TCR it.
Are you confident?
Yeah. How much money do you put on it? We should do it like a.
Hey, all good.
Hey. So let's do. I tell you what, it's facing north at the moment. So why don't we do 1F with a starting point of 1-1 will be 0-1. So the first one's uppy downy, and the next one's lefty righty. Let's find out what that actually is. X, Y, up, down. I can never remember this.
Sorry, so you want. Let me just rename these a little bit better.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We don't need this one anymore.
I would argue that you do still for now. Maybe you can refactor it later, but definitely can rename things.
Frustrating.
So maybe it's like test returns initial position 1.
Yeah.
That seems. Or so test returns initial position when no commands are given. That's a mouthful, but.
No, that's accurate though.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
It's a strong argument using Gherkin, actually.
Yeah. And this is like the second version of that. Maybe what you could do actually is just put both of those assertions in the same test. That might be a good refactor.
Yeah, I like that.
Sorry, Billy, I'm stealing your thunder here.
We have to TCR at this point. No?
Yeah, we could do.
It's big enough change.
I think it's fine. The idea is to encourage us to make small changes. So
yes,
cool. That looks good.
Okay. Why don't we do? If you go forward and you're facing north, you will get a negative on. It's really bugging me that I don't know which one X is.
Let's do a simple one. Let's do go south and the number increases. Go south ends up in 2-3.
What do you want to do, Billy? You're navigating.
So I'm really irritated because I
Right.
can't work out. Okay, so Y is up and down, and it's X and Y. So,
Yeah.
yeah, let's do. If you go south, then the
Right.
second position is incremented by 1. So I guess you could do it as given the initial position is 1, 1, and the direction is south. When forward is given, then the y-axis.
Hang on.
Are you spelling out what you want in the test name right here?
It's getting carried away.
It's like, do you imagine reading that in a test log?
Yeah.
Wrapped in 6 lines.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. That'll do.
Right. Set. Are we doing from 2 to what did you say?
So it just any of the valid test cases for that. So it, like, say you're going north and then you're doing so the direction is the second parameter. So we've already got an n in there.
Yeah. So the third input there is the commands, right? Which are F, L, R, B, like forward, left, right, backwards.
Oh, right. I was going to convey. I thought you could use the direction. Okay, no, right.
Yeah, no, because it's not. So
it's F.
yeah, the rover can only go forwards, backwards, and turn left and right.
Yeah.
You cannot tell the rover go north. It doesn't understand that command. It only understands forwards, backwards, and turn left and right.
Misunderstood. Right. So
let's do it. Let's put in a case statement. We don't
really already,
or an if. That would work.
Yeah. Okay. If commands equals F, like that.
Yeah, spot on. It's cool.
What was it? 2, 1. Otherwise, return the coordinate.
Nice. Let's do it. TCR it.
Yeah, sure.
Drum roll.
It's the worst that could happen.
It's the worst that could happen. It could only go and pass.
Worst. Should we do this with like Russian roulette style?
So a cool thing that we can do.
Brutal.
Are you sure?
So a cool thing that we can do now is we can check that this test works by changing the assertion on line 10 of the test file to be like 2.2. And that will prove to us that our test will work, and we can run TCR and it will revert our change for us if it's working.
I hadn't thought about it that way, actually. That's clever.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You quickly. Way, okay, cool. Our test's working. Great. So let's chuck in another thing. Let's try and do. Do you want to do like F a different direction, or?
I would go for a different direction. Should I do that?
Yeah, let's go for it. Do you want south, or something?
Well, now we're facing. Oh, you want to face in a different initial direction? Not.
We could actually go backwards. Maybe that would add to our ifs. So that might be a nice small change.
Yeah, let's go backwards. That seems easy.
One thing I'm noticing here is I think all of your assertions are basically going to be exactly the same. So, as in like in form, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's also like very little state because it's doing functional. So I wonder if having
parameterize them.
Well, you could parameterize it, or just have literally the one test function and just build up the assertions line by line in that one test.
I think I'd rather have it like, because it's like a kata and stuff, and like I don't have to. There's not like a million tons of other code to maintain. I think I would generally prefer to keep them as separate tests until we like decide that these are a sensible feature to group together. Like initial position seems like a sensible test. Going north sounds like a sensible test. Forward, north, backwards. How you know?
Yeah.
So it should be 3 then, I guess.
Yeah. Also, this way, we're forced to give the tests a name, the test cases. Think about what the test cases are, actually.
Yeah. So
Okay.
should we do a super noddy implementation?
Yep. If commands. If only all programming was this easy.
Moving small enough steps it is.
Maybe. Yeah. Right.
Cool. Let's do it. I think it's going to pass. I'm confident. Quickly check those files back for a moment. Wait, and let's try changing that 3 to a 2 and then check that the test actually works, since we're not doing it the other way around. Cool. Test is working.
Nice.
And that is a perfect time to change places.
Okay. What's next?
Okay, so what's next? What is probably the next simplest thing to do? Implement. We could turn left and expect to be facing east.
Interesting. How do I know which direction we're facing?
We're facing north.
Is that an output from the function? No. So the direction the rover's facing isn't returned from the function.
At the moment, no.
That's a good point. How about if we turned left and moved forward?
Yeah, okay.
Then there's a measurable difference. Since we can't assert the state of the grid of the rover's direction.
Left.
So you have to think about this now. So facing north, and the rover turns left. Where are you going to be facing? Which direction? East. And then if you move forward,
so you're going right. So increasing the x by 1.
Well, are you going to be facing east? If you turn left.
Ooh, west.
Sorry.
You're facing west, right?
Yeah.
To minus
west.
90.
So decrease x by 1. Okay.
Have you agreed a coordinate system yet, by the way? So like what's plus minus in each direction?
I assume that the standard upside down Windows pixel coordinate.
So like I was imagining that we would do x and y, and then what are the upside down pixel coordinates?
So what, like this and like this?
Where the x is normal, but the y is kind of upside down.
Right, so this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like this here is 0, 0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you increase y, you're going down.
Then...
So if you started at 0, 0 and you went left 1 square.
So this way is positive x.
Yeah, 1, 0. Oh, if you went left from 0, 0, you'd be minus 1.
And this way is positive y, right?
Sweet. Yeah, that's what I was imagining.
Okay.
Y decrement by 1. I'm not going to give this a better name at all. Okay.
Well, so now we're going to do x decremented.
Returns x decremented by 1.
and moving forward. I just realized that actually we have to give it two commands and force us to do quite a lot.
Okay. I mean, I can just chuck in another LF, like if LF, then return this. That would work, I guess.
Yeah, it's just deferring the inevitable.
I tell you what.
Eventually, you are going to have to write some logic here, so you might as well bite that bullet.
Why don't I do the LF thing in the if?
The thing is, we have to like split the string, and we have no way of testing that the string is split correctly.
I mean,
What?
you could just run a for, so you can loop through the characters in the string. You don't have to split it.
It's true.
Why don't I make this a hard-coded change, and then when we've got a commit of it working, we do the refactoring to make the actual characters to be passed out. Is that sensible?
Yeah, it's just I foresee a very big change that will likely fail.
I mean, you're gonna have to bite that bullet eventually.
Yeah, but is there
You mean like what's the simplest thing that you can do next to not make that?
Yeah.
I don't think there is.
I think
there is. It's the rover initially facing a different direction and just going forward. Because that will force us to
use the direction. Okay, yeah, makes sense, sensible. Let me get rid of this.
Well, just okay.
So what?
So like if you passed in rove, same thing, but like east.
Yeah.
And
okay.
then with F, yeah.
No, we should end up with the same.
What? So is this what you meant? Like
east.
S?
East.
Oh, east. And then
so effectively, we're doing the same thing, but with a smaller step. Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, I've got it backwards. It'd be.
No, that's right.
No, that's correct. It should be exactly the same as the one we just wrote.
Just reversed.
Output. Yeah.
So east should if we're facing east and then we go forwards, that should increment x, right? This should be this is 1 1, and then that should be 1 2. X and y. Oh, wrong way around.
Sorry. Yes, I meant west. God, I'm so bad at these directions.
This is the real mind bender.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're west, you're going backwards on the x-axis.
Yeah. So we're going that way. Yeah. Minus. So what are we going to write in here?
One more if statement. Every possible permutation.
No. I would like to introduce if the direction is.
Okay. So here. And
then y needs to be, what is it, decremented, right?
Have you started using a German keyboard, Billy?
Who always uses German keyboard? Why?
I didn't know. I just saw an A umlaut come up. I was like, oh, that's not a thing that usually you can do on a...
we're modifying x, so x. Am I going too far here?
No. I think it's okay so far.
Thing exists in.
Yeah, you can. Plus equals.
North. Oh no! Wait, hang on. I've got that
No,
wrong.
why? First of all, if you're going north, then it's the y that's changing.
You're right. It is the y that's changing, and it's going to be negative. Okay.
Yeah.
And
that should, yeah, if you stick.
And then this one is this one, and we're facing west, it is the same but negative.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a red line underneath this, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just ignore everything. My ID is all... Probably you haven't saved it, that's why.
Okay. We need to give it a type? No.
Save the file, and I think it should go away. Eventually.
So if I do what? Initial x initial y equals coordinate.
This is a big change. I feel like...
Yeah, I thought... Yeah.
So what's the idea here, right? Is like, depending on your initial direction, you're gonna set to, let's call them like cardinal direction change values, and then add that onto each coordinate.
Let's do it, Billy. I mean, because programming wise is trivial, but it's a big change.
So what about where, like, you've got some good tests now. What about trying to implement a sequence first, rather than the directional element of this? That makes sense.
Sequence of commands.
Yeah, so like, let's say you have a your rover starts at 0, 0, it's pointing south, right? And then you just keep on adding like d, or sorry, f. Let's call it. And then
okay, we've already got this far. Is this not useful, you think?
Yeah.
That we could just finish this little change.
I've noticed that we've not actually got a backwards test in here.
In fact, it would be exactly the same for back, wouldn't it? Because you're
hang on.
Plus...
I've noticed something weird. We've not got a backwards test.
I've just noticed the timer's up as well, by the way.
So why do we have if commands equals b? That should not be in there. Did we leave it by mistake?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Can we TCR?
Hang on. Who's driving?
So it's changeover.
We're in limbo. So who does TCR during changeover?
Who was driving just now?
I think I was driving just now.
Brilliant.
You guys. All right. So John's driving now and Billy's navigating.
Right.
Go.
So, TCR?
Yeah, let's do it.
Which one is one?
Are you sure?
If
No.
your life depended on it.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Hey.
Well
Okay. Cool.
So,
Should
what
we
is the next test?
could we just duplicate that returns y incremented and do a returns x incremented by on line 21 of the test?
Oh,
I'm just like kind of like keen to get back that backwards thing.
okay.
So if we could, yeah, just make a test for that, because that feels like it'd be dead easy to do, because it's just the backwards
Yeah.
of the last operation.
So, and backwards it should be 2, 3.
North. Oh yeah, it would be. It would be y, x, y. Yeah.
Okay, so code. I just duplicate this one.
Yeah, duplicate it, but do it the other direction.
So pluses
Like
become
a
minuses.
subtract it. Yeah.
On the Y.
On both of them.
No.
Yeah. It has to be because
It
you're
would-
because you're going backwards. So whatever direction the rover's facing, you're taking away one from it. Or so you're minusing the.
We
Yeah,
could.
but at the moment,
We
it
could run the
depends
test now,
what-
and
no.
it should. We don't have
oh
a
yeah,
test to actually
sorry.
check that.
You're right.
So we could leave it as a plus, and then
Oh no, yeah, but that's correct because if you're facing west, there'll only be a change here, and if you're facing north, there'll only be a change here.
yeah, should be TCR. I think that should be okay. Cool. Should we do the other directions? Initial directions. So we've got north and west now. We could
Okay.
do east and then south if we do it as like one at a time and
Yeah.
all that guff.
East. Go east from here. We're increasing the x by 1. So it's 3, 2. Is that right?
Yeah. You might need to rename the test so it's not the same name as the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, change it to X.
The test name on 29 is not very good, but I'm sorry about that later.
Classic
placeholder. Yeah, that looks good to me. Let's just chuck in another if the initial direction. I think it's just because it's not saved.
East with anyway.
Yeah, if you save it, it will.
Okay.
It looks like it's saved.
Because it runs linting after you save.
Right.
VS Code's a bit.
I see. Okay. Okay. What are we doing in the code?
So just duplicate 1516, replace the W with an E, and yeah, and then change that minus plus to a
plus.
yeah. And it should work. And if it doesn't, yay! Should we break the test and see if it still works? So we've changed that 2 to a 3 and then TCR and have it revert.
3 to a 2.
Anything just to break it, really. Just want to see to double check that
Is
test
the one
actually
that's
works.
changed, so.
Yeah, because
Right.
with
Nice.
when you're following TDD, right, you normally run the test first and watch it fail. But because you're doing TCR, you can't do that, because if it fails, your code gets wiped. So the way to check that the test is actually working is you have to break it afterwards. It's kind of like a mini mutation test afterwards.
Yeah, I love that idea, Billy.
And then should we do same thing again, but south?
Yeah. So 2 2 going south.
2 3, right?
Oh yeah.
No, facing south and going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
2
would be
3.
2 3.
A.
You've got, I think the test names are the same.
Oh yeah.
Delete one of the X's.
Test
Oh, it's Y.
it's Y
Fermented.
by 1 facing south.
Facing south.
This is why all my tests end up with terrible name. Like, not very good at keeping them up to date as I go.
Would you be up for using Gherkin next time, just to be able to spell all this out?
You want? I'm not sure how it works with TCR.
Well, there's even more that you stand to lose, I suppose.
Should we chuck in another direction then?
South. So there's Y change, it's +1.
Cool.
Are you confident?
Yeah, why not? It's a small change. If it fails, it's not a big deal.
Nice.
Good
job.
So what I'd like to do now is I would like to start a refactor. And what I would like to do is do an extract method refactor of all of the code that we have inside this function. And I would like to move it to a function which is move, which takes 3 parameters.
Wait a minute, all of this?
All of it, yep.
And you want to extract?
So I want to take, you can even take the coordinate thing. So what I want to do is I want to make a function which we can then put into a loop. So we can do multiple directions. But before we do that, I want to do the extract function first, to make sure that it all, like, our risk is minimal. Extract method, extract function. I never sure.
So from which line to which line do you want to extract, Billy?
I would take all of it. You could actually just copy that function and then call it move, and then call move from inside Rove.
Yeah.
And then the logic is exactly the same.
Oh, sorry, everything is in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and then Rove calls move.
Move.
With all of the arguments.
Yep.
Coordinate, initial direction, and commands. That's a great refactor, Billy.
And
why does it say that they're not being used?
It's the indentation.
And we're missing a return as well on line 7.
Yeah.
Return move.
Yeah,
Cool.
you would just want to return move. Okay.
Yep, and just give it a go. See what happens. Sweet. Everything's still passing, and we've now got our little refactor in place.
Right.
So what I would like to do now
You
is
haven't actually run TCR yet.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to run TCR? Oh, we need to save it first.
It's saved. I can vouch for that.
Okay.
I thought we had. Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
So what I'd like to do now is a test which checks that if you do forward, then you get, a double addition.
Yeah. Makes sense. So
basically, if you do like facing south from 0, 0, and you do 2 forwards.
Facing south.
At what point do you want to start refactoring these tests?
I think this is okay. But what do we want to do? What were you thinking refactoring wise, Ben? The names, basically.
Yeah. Finding some kind of naming system. Or making it parameterized and making it a bit more like self-explanatory / legible. Oh, time's up. I'm not paying attention enough to this timer.
Yeah. So we were in the middle of writing this test.
So Billy's driving now and John's navigating.
Yeah.
Okay, so
y is incremented by 2, given it's facing south, and the command is FF.
Okay.
Okay. So in the code, we want to simply, so we can loop over the characters, Ben, you're saying?
Yep. So you can do like
you can
4.
do a 4 command in command, and it'll automatically break it up into characters.
Yep.
Why do we need that?
Because if we don't save where we are, so we'll do the first step, like we can't just return, because we need to have state that's going to be mutated by this move command over and over again.
Right.
It's no longer going to be return move. It's going to be
current coordinate is the initial coordinate for the next command.
Yeah.
Okay. So current coordinate equals move coordinate. Oh, current coordinate. Yeah.
And then initial, we've not done any direction changing yet, so I guess it's just going to be initial direction. I don't know why I put that in there. It's just simply. And then commands is going to be command.
Yeah.
And then. Is that looking okay, do you think?
I think it should be coordinate, single, not plural.
In whereabouts?
Isn't it one coordinate that is returning? Rather.
You mean the name of the variable? Yeah.
Yeah.
Coordinate.
I feel like you could get into a very deep semantic argument about whether an XY pair is a coordinate or a pair of coordinates.
Well, together, it's like one of them's a point, right? And then 2 of them are coordinates.
Are they?
And then 3 of them are a vector.
I mean, you can have a 2-dimensional vector as well. A vector is a coordinate plus a direction. So it's not just a point. Yeah, vectors have direction.
So it's not when you add the velocity that's there.
I mean, velocity is a vector. position is.
Anyway.
Position would be a coordinate, right?
What am I doing? What am I changing? Tell me what's changed.
So I wouldn't bother. Like, again, it's a semantic argument. I think at this point it probably doesn't really matter too much.
Looked it up. A single one is a coordinate.
What do you mean by a single
Okay.
one? Like a single
pair
is a coordinate.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So there.
Today I learned.
There we go. It's coordinate, current coordinate. Should I TCR?
Have you got all the names like matching? I wouldn't want to lose the TCR after this.
How many names could there be?
I don't see any red squigglies, so I think you should be good.
Someone want to do like a drum roll or something?
I'll do it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What next?
Oh no, sorry. Each number is a coordinate.
You're still like John. You're still preoccupied. Still preoccupied with looking up the definition of.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, what's next?
What we do now?
It passed.
It passed.
Amazing.
Tell you what, let's change that to a 3 and just check that the test actually works. Oy, nice.
Although I love the way it flicks back to the correct value in the editor when it fails.
Really satisfying, isn't it? What is next?
So you haven't. My observation is you haven't implemented any left and right turns yet. Or I mean, you could carry down this path. So do like backward or something.
Well, backward is covered, isn't it? I mean, it would just pass.
Would you bet? Would you bet on it?
I'm willing to, yeah.
It sounds like a free test that you can run here and then just to verify, right?
But yeah.
So that.
You haven't saved.
Oh.
Echo, hello. Hello. Yeah.
Hey, okay. Backwards works.
But now there is no question that backwards works.
Exactly. That's right. That's
we
good.
have a test for it.
Yeah.
I thought it was backwards.
So I think left and right is probably the next thing that needs to be implemented. It's the main thing that's thing that's missing.
Yeah, looking at the README that there is the next thing to do.
So what's the scenario for right?
So who's driving?
Billy, you're driving. John, you're navigating.
I'm navigating. So we're doing
3 minutes and 23 seconds.
Let's do the test that we commented out then.
Do it.
Then left and go forward.
So
the spacing of that is just a little bit messed up. There you go. It's all right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be interesting because left.
So, like, I'm guessing
make it face
turning without any movement, you'd still return the same coordinates. Maybe that's the next simplest test you could run.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
Is that what we're doing, John?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So
Turn same coordinates.
So, I mean, maybe you could do something like turning with no movement returns initial coordinates. I enjoyed that feature from Kotlin actually, where you could like write sentences with spaces in them for function names if you had them captured in backticks.
You could do what? Sorry.
Do you know when we were doing Kotlin a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I wasn't there.
You could wrap the function name in backticks, which meant you could put any character in there. So like characters which would normally be
I see.
like illegal in a function name.
Yeah. Unprintable.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this will pass, right? Just as it is.
What's the idea here? To cover left and right at the same time?
Well, with no movement, I guess.
Yeah, I think this will just pass, right?
It actually will pass because it won't change any direction.
Right, great. If we break this, change it to 2, it is actually pass, or is it like a test lying to us? No, it's not a test lying to us. Great. So that's a valid test. It works. What next?
Next is the one we commented out.
Really?
Going left, going forward.
Okay, so going left, going forwards. Cool, can do that.
Right.
Shall I implement this?
Yeah. How do you propose to implement this?
Time's up. Swap. John, you're driving now.
Fine.
So let's just whack in another variable like current direction. Cool.
Oh, hang on. That should be here.
Yep.
Right. And
so now we've got the current.
Yeah, does move have to now? Do we need to have a stateful?
So let's change the parameter initial direction to current. So let's comment out the test we've got on the left-hand side. So get back to a state where all our tests will pass. And then let's do a refactor where we change line 11 to have, instead of initial direction in it, current direction. Cool. So if you comment out that test or delete it or something, because we've not actually implemented any of that functionality yet, we can run TCR now and we get a better save state. If we fuck up.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
All good. So
let's just inside that for loop.
Yeah.
Do if something along the lines of if command is equal to L, then
it should be command, shouldn't it?
Yep, remembers to change further down the file. So do you want to, if you want to do that, I think that's fine. But let's comment out that test, change command to commands, and then run the.
I've changed commands to command.
Yeah.
Should I run TCR?
No, because you've got a test that doesn't have an implementation yet. Which changes.
Okay. But
you can do it just for the lol factor.
I used the ID. So
the thing that I'm trying to get across here is that we need to do refactoring. So in my mind, the TCR cycle works like this. So you write the test, you write the implementation, and then you run the test, and it either reverts or you then validate that the test actually works. So, and then once you've got like a known good state, then you can do some refactoring. So if we comment out that function we're going to implement, the thing we've like talked about, but not actually quite got around to implementing, and then run the tests for the coordinate change, TCR, then that should give us a cool. And now we've got a good state with the right word command instead of commands.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool. So next up, let's uncomment the test that we were like looking at implementing, and then just straight up in that for loop, whack an if command equals L, then direction equals something else. So don't put it in the move one. Let's whack it in the command one, because we can then have a new function which is going to be like rotate or something like that.
So
But
here,
let's start. Yeah, just whack it in there and make it super stupid. Like do if command equals L, then direction equals west. And then whack a continue in the bottom of that. Cool.
Do you need to continue?
because otherwise it'll move.
Well, you have a test. You have a test that validates that it doesn't move when you've just got a turning instruction in it.
That's a good
It's
point.
true.
We don't need to continue.
No.
Although,
Don't say
no,
this.
try it with both, right? So maybe if you're more confident that it will work with the continue, then do that, and then you have that
No,
same
I
state.
mean, you're right. It shouldn't do anything if the command is L.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about this sailing, so I think we should just go for it.
Fine.
Cool.
And it
Good
did
pass.
I love Billy's confidence. It's just like it's
Charge
gonna
complete.
pass.
It's the Mars Rover.
So let's.
I
Nothing
think,
bad ever
I
happens
think
to
we're
Mars
good enough.
rovers.
I think we're good enough. Mars Rover.
Yeah. Let's do something which turns
Did you guys
that.
hear about the segue? Did you guys hear about the NASA lost contact with the Voyager because they sent it some commands which turned it 2 degrees off axis, and now they can't communicate it with it anymore.
Oh, amazing.
Oh,
That's like, you gotta be a bit like, oh, fuck. There's a bug in my code. Like, you know, like.
Did they? I wonder if they were doing TCR then.
Surely if it didn't work, then it should just aligned itself again. No, so what I want to do now is I really want to add in another test which falsifies the stupidity, which is that command L equals west thing. And I think all that we need to do that is to make a different starting position test.
different starting direction.
Yeah, different starting direction. It's just
Well, it
basically
could
the same
start
thing.
by facing east, and that would be wrong.
Yeah.
So just quickly do E and watch it fail. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, you still need an assertion here, right? So the assertion needs to be different.
Yeah. So if you were facing east and then you went left and forwards,
Yeah,
you would be facing
south.
it'd be north.
Yeah, you're
North.
facing north.
So it'd be what?
North.
If it's 2-2, it'd be 2-1. Is that right?
No, it's 2-2. Yeah, it'll be 2-1. Yeah, exactly.
It's doing X,
A?
Y, so
So what I think would be really cool now would be to add in a really noddy extra if statement, which says if the current direction is east. So the reason that I'm doing this is because we need something which will say, given this direction, go this way. So like we're sort of building up a lookup table.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's correct. So I shall add in if command.
I think we need an additional and, probably. So if command is left and current direction is.
Yeah, right. And current direction equals, what are we saying? West?
So I think we did east.
Current direction is, east.
Yeah.
No, I think we said west, and then we turn.
No, said east. So we will face in the test. We're facing east, and then we turn left, and then we're facing north.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And
how does the interaction with that top if statement work then?
Yeah. So we can either. I tell you what. Why don't we do?
It's north in all the other tests.
So why don't we make the left turn the outer bit of the if statement, and then have two if statements inside it saying if we're this way and if we're that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, why did you make an else if? Yeah.
I mean, a nested if statement seems sensible here.
So the nested if statement, my thinking behind that is that we need to, at some point, have a function which says turn left and then gives us the new direction. And it's an easier refactor.
Yeah.
Cool. That'll do.
Will that pass the test?
It's getting very difficult too.
Because I think it's going to... So my hunch is that's going to fail.
It's about time we had a failing TCR.
It's about time.
We got the... Do we get the test wrong?
No, it's because... So I guess can't control Z it, but what was there is you were setting the current direction to west. Regardless of the, and then when you check the if statement, you were checking if it was east, but you had already overwritten the direction.
Stupid.
Take a shot.
Okay.
But I like, so this is what you had before.
Let's whack in that other if then. So just if current direction equals.
It was north.
Does Python have a case?
It does.
I would really like to use a case.
You have it's just a perfect opportunity to use a match case.
Let's do it. Let's do a match. Is it match case? Is that the syntax?
It's match and then the thing that you want to match on, and then just double check match case.
But the end effect will be that it's an if else, right? Like you were saying.
Yeah,
John.
That's the equivalent.
Let's do the if else. I mean, rather than trying to do the match thing. Let's go.
Okay. What was
so it'd be if current direction equals north, and then we do the current direction equals west. If current direction equals etc.
But if command equals L, if current direction is north, then we do.
Yeah. Then current direction is west. Yeah.
And then
so you have 4 of these, right? 1 for each cardinal direction that you're facing. But I think now this should pass the test.
So we need an else before the if, before we do that. Otherwise, oh no, this will work.
This should work.
Yeah, it won't do anything at all.
Did you rewrite the test, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
Put it back in there.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good.
I did command undo.
Cheeky. You can't do that in TCR.
This would be painful. Hey, okay, great. And then let's do another direction. because it'll mean that we have to add in an else.
Yeah. So what, facing south, turning left?
Yeah, sure.
I don't remember. I think you're navigating, aren't you?
Oh, the time was up. Sorry, I was not paying attention at all to that timer. I got far too invested in your change places. So, video.
Okay. What am I doing?
Well, we need to write a test turning left when facing south.
Probably need a different name for it. These test names are just chef's kiss.
Mwah. Before I do this, should I rewrite the test names? Would that make would that bring joy and happiness?
I think we will probably have like a 15-minute argument about what the naming should be, which probably isn't the best use of TCR site right now.
Yes. Okay.
Turning left when
just call it test case number 368. That's probably just as informative as the test names right now. Exactly, yeah. Just mash your face on the keyboard. That's
so we've got two and it's, do we say it's south and then it's left and then forwards would be that way.
So you'd be facing east.
You'd be facing east,
which means you'd be incrementing x by 1. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. I mean, the test name isn't nice.
So now just duplicate the if we have. And if that works, then maybe we'll do the refactoring. South, current direction should be east.
So we actually need to add an else in here. What's it, LF in this language?
Yeah, because it's you can only have one of the cases. You should only have one of the cases.
Yeah. Okay. TCR.
TCR. Hey!
Brilliant.
I'm just gonna check this way.
Yeah. Hey. It's nice actually doing that test reversion automatically.
Now it is. Now I would like to refactor these lines in Rover into a lookup dict.
Okay, so all right. So what?
Next. Next
so
direction.
This is specifically for when you're turning left, right?
So left. Next left direction, yeah. So N goes to W. And S goes to E.
Ooh, make sure they're all capitals. I think.
Oh.
And
just have a feeling.
N. Yeah. And now we want to replace.
No.
You want to know something interesting?
I do.
We could actually replace this with what we're doing here is traversing an array, right? Like, because we've got a pointer and it's facing north, and then if you turn left, you could step back. And if you step forwards, that's anyway. This is 1, right? It's fine. Never mind. Let's do this. So, right. If current direction as
I get
well.
where you were coming from, Billy. Although I feel like that might have been a bit.
It's a bit far, isn't it?
We don't need the ifs anymore.
Is it cleaner to read? And the dictionary is also 01 lookup time, right? So like you wouldn't be gaining too much.
Yeah. No ifs. No ifs can go. No. All right.
No ifs.
So next would be what current coordinate equals next left direction.
Current direction equals next left direction.
Yeah.
Current direction. Yeah.
Oh, that looks lovely. Look at that. No more if statements. Branchless programming.
Yeah.
Should we
TCR?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Oh no.
What happened?
Oh no. Key error W.
For the win. Okay.
But you're not allowed to have.
No, you are. I think we just didn't have a W.
You needed a W in that. You missed out. You missed out one line. Because you had the turns from north, from east, from south, but you were missing west.
Yeah. And that's because we've not got a test for west yet on here.
Oh, that's right, but it's being used.
Well, it's being used in a previous test example, I'm guessing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the problem. Well, that's an interesting situation.
So, what could you have done to make that less painful? Losing all that code.
I'm gonna. I mean, so we could have gone for a smaller refactor, right? We could have gone for a straight up method extract, and then once we've got a simpler interface, we could.
Do you want to do the same thing again, and just this time make sure that you don't miss the west?
Yeah.
Or do you want to take is there a smaller step that can be taken?
I would like to add in a test for the west, because west is the best. What are we doing here? But first, I want to fix the names of these functions because it's driving me nuts.
Test going forwards. Or test. Yeah.
Let's do forwards and then backwards. This is a bit of an odd, like, scenario because, like, forwards. Because you don't often have like a case where the test cases are so similar.
I mean, this is a great like use case for parameterized tests.
Yeah, so
I like what he's doing, that you have them grouped together by
the operation that they're doing. Yeah.
Operation.
This is no
test, no movement. Yeah.
Right. Let's put that right, turning left,
turning
backwards.
As a let's say someone coming to this code base completely new is a lot easier to read these tests for sure.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna run TCR to check I didn't fuck anything up. I think I did. Okay.
Could you imagine if
this is test turning left? That should be test moving backwards, shouldn't it?
Yeah, can do.
I'll do it. It's okay.
Run TCR again.
It.
Right. Okay.
kind of like a little checkpoint, you know.
Oh, that was absolutely necessary because it was getting.
Can I just show you what the commit history looks like?
Beautiful. The great thing about TCR is it gives you a really good excuse to use rebasing and general faffing around in Git in complicated ways. West. That's what we wanted to do, right? West. Well, that's what I wanted to do. What are we doing now? I'm driving, right? So
only for another 5 seconds. So I would say change places.
Are we stopping for some
in 10 minutes? Yeah.
10 minutes.
So last stretch. Billy, you're navigating. John, you're driving.
Let's do west. West. It's best.
West.
You need one more test from west.
Turning left.
Yep. So you just whack one on the bottom and it'll be
west.
Best. Follow John.
Turning left from west. You'd be facing south.
Yep.
Want to increment the Y, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird that we've sort of gone for this 2 thing.
So do you want to do another if statement here just to get that checkpointed and then do the refactor after?
Let's do it. I think that's the way to go, right?
Billy's nodding, John's shaking his head. There's disagreement.
Baby steps. The smallest step is the most important one to make.
I'm the one. Yeah, I'm the guy that needs to type it. Current direction will be
south.
Yeah.
So if we run the test, I think that should work.
Yep.
Cool.
Good. So now,
before we do the lookup,
yeah,
let's move this into its own function.
Yeah, okay.
This L thing. So let's move it into a turn left function with the parameter of the current direction.
Host doesn't allow running this command.
Oh, so I have to do this one. Yeah, I remember now. Refactor. No refactoring's available. That's a shame. Sorry, you're going to have to do it manually, John.
Yeah.
Such is life with VS Code. Because I'm too cheap to pay for a PyCharm license.
Yeah, he hates to get you a PyCharm license.
Actually, yeah, but live share is better. Is better, I think, than Code.me.
Code.me has this tendency to break, which is really irritating. Cool. Did you paste it? Yeah, just call it.
Turn left. Turn left, isn't it?
Yeah, turn left, something like that.
Oh, turn left.
Cool.
So we wanna.
So for that function, oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So we need to. You need to give it some arguments and a return value, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the return value is a string, right?
Yep. So I would just swap out those current direction equals with just a return.
Yeah.
And then before we start using this, I think we should run TCR.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, before we start using it.
Yep. Yes. Run TCR because that will prove that our code is well-formed Python, even if it doesn't pass the tests.
Yeah.
And we get a checkpoint.
Now we just say.
Although now you've written extra code without a test there, backing it.
It's a parallel refactor, right?
Broken.
So we've not changed any of the functionality. It is definitely pushing it. It's like
we had this argument last week with Mark. It's like, is that allowed? Should that be allowed? Because this is the problem with TCR, is it kind of forces you into sometimes like, let's write a little bit of untested code.
So, but the functionality in it is all tested, right? It's just that we're not using it. Like, we're not changing any of the behavior. It's the same as like having a feature toggle or something.
Yeah.
It's my opinion. It's my self-justification. The test pass. Now we've tried turning left.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Very
great.
Nice.
Okay.
Now what? We can turn left.
So
we want to turn this into a dictionary, right?
Yeah.
So what do we call it? Next, left.
Why not put that inside that function?
Yeah. Then we could move it up if we fancy it.
Direction
Maybe call it next direction.
equals
N equals west.
S E.
West to south, east to north.
So E is
East goes to north, and then west goes to south. Yes. You can just return.
Direction. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And does it work? Will it blend? Yeah, nice.
Is it cake? That
Cake
show.
is unfortunately. Oh yes.
I wonder, something super esoteric here, can you turn that into a one-liner? So like you do return and then the dictionary construct and then the square bracket straight afterwards?
It is also worth noting.
Yeah.
It's worth noting that this sort of optimization is purely for like our aesthetics, because most most compilers or most interpreters will convert a function which is just if statements and returns into a lookup table for you. So like it's kind of
it is purely syntactical.
I think Ben, you suggested earlier on that it could just be an array of strings and you return the next one in the list.
Billy suggested that. I'll not take credit for
that. So I've noticed something here, which is that turn left is an operand, backwards is an operand, forwards is an operand, but we've not treated them the same way. So, sorry, do you want to do the thing that Ben suggested and move current direction to next to the dictionary definition and return it from there? So you can instead of doing that in two,
instead of a dictionary.
So keeping the dictionary just at the end of the dictionary as we define it, look up the key.
Oh, like that.
It's all on one line, yeah.
And then you return that one line.
Sweet. Do you want to run TCR, see what happens?
And in JavaScript, that could be even shorter.
Oh,
you didn't save the file. Save the file.
I find it. I get excited when it's like different happens. Cool. So if we go back to the code, what would be really cool is if we could treat the operands the same. So we've got that backwards and forwards thing. So I think it might be nice to, instead of changing any of the functionality, to extract the forwards and, in fact, hang on. So I'm just looking at this at the moment, and Does it? Maybe the forwards and backwards thing doesn't make sense. Maybe move is the best you can do because of the minus add thing. Okay, forget what I said. That's fine. Let's leave it. Sweet. Let's do right then.
Yeah, okay. So do you want to just duplicate the whole thing?
Yeah, why not? Live dangerously. So in my IDE, I have this thing set up which tells me the size of my delta. And I used to have it set up so that if I had a delta, if I had code for too long on my IDE, it would just revert everything. Because it probably means that I've been building up too much WIP.
That is like the true hardcore TCR, which is just, it's not even test revert. It's more
just like
you've done
don't
too much
work in big
revert.
batches. Yeah, like
auto revert.
Yeah.
Time's up. So
we gonna retro
we'll
or
do a little retro on this. Let's do a little retro.
Let's do some reflection.
Yeah, some little reflection. Retro reflection. I enjoyed. I did not enjoy. We should do, or sorry, next time we should do. Yeah?
Yeah.
So go. Let's have a quick 2 minutes putting some little bullet points over here. Should play some elevator music while we do this. I'll have it up for next time. Run out of steam? Alright, let's go. So top one here from I enjoyed. Ben Hosting. Who wrote this one?
I wrote this one. I like it. I mean, you are obviously fantastic as a host, but I think generally the concept of having a host is great. Like doing the introductory bits and stuff. It's kind of nice.
I think so because last week we did this with Mark and I did that introductory bit as well. And we just went away with the timer completely because it was just the two of us and not having that cognitive load of like doing the actual hosting bit was good. But then on this stream when it's three of us, where I can just do the role of timing, giving in suggestions and whatnot, I think works nice as a format for sure. The challenge of TCR, is this you, John?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I've never done it before, and it's very interesting in a lot of respects. There's a lot to say about it. I'm not going to talk about it now, but yeah.
Would you do this going forward, like just in your day-to-day?
Day-to-day, I'm not sure about my day-to-day work. No, I think it's good as a group exercise. It was a coding kata.
Next time we should do something stricter with the driver navigator roles. You wrote this one.
Yeah, I put this. We weren't very strict about what makes the best. We weren't very strict about who was doing which role, and that definitely seemed to lead to some confusion. So I would be really interested to see what happens if we do. I don't know what this thing would be, but something like stricter with the driver navigator roles, because I certainly found myself like navigating when I should have been driving, or driving when I should have been navigating. And I think that would be like an interesting thing to try. I'm not quite sure. I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I also did this one below as well. And I was just thinking like so Python I find is a fantastic language for doing TDD in. It's very enjoyable. And I know that I do TD slightly differently if I have a stricter type language, like the types become part of my tests. And I was curious as to how TCR would translate.
Yeah, I'd be up for trying that.
We could try with something like TypeScript or, dare I say, C next time. If you guys really want to go with that. Or Rust. That could also be pretty fun.
Yeah, or Haskell.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Kotlin has strong types, doesn't it?
Yeah, maybe Kotlin would be the way to...
Any JVM.
Kotlin before.
All right. Well, thanks for joining, both of you. I enjoyed watching. Especially when the tests failed. That was almost like... dare I say, enjoyable. Yeah, and thank you, viewers, who did come to watch. Appreciate your input. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Teletubbies, bye.